Well, welcome to the session. It's a pleasure for me. My name is Jose Blasco, and it's indeed a pleasure for me to conduct the session today. Today, it's a session where we are going to go over a discovery. This is Auto UFOs for NinjaTrader, which is our brand new product that we are launching this week. And therefore, I'm sure you have many questions to ask. Certainly, I have lots to share and lots to demonstrate. So hopefully, we're going to have a powerful session in front of us. It's going to be exciting. And definitely, it's a great time to get together to go over all of this. So as we begin the session, I am highlighting on the upper left side of the screen the financial disclaimer. Please read it carefully. As always, it's fairly short. It is very important, though, so I'm counting on you all to read it completely as I normally say, because it's indeed important. A few more details about our beautiful introduction slide. So you can see some of our social media handles on the bottom left. You can see also my email address on the bottom right. If you want to get in touch with our company, if you want to get in touch directly with me, feel free to connect. Happy to help, and obviously happy to be connected. Cool. With all of this said, again, Auto UFOs for NinjaTrader. Let's begin. How are we gonna conduct today's session? Well, first we'll go over a little bit of introductions. I believe that many of you attending the session, either live or recorded, are clients or members of our community. So you may know already who we are. You may know a little bit about the UFOs or a lot about the UFOs. In any case, because not everybody may be part of our community already, if you allow me to, I will go over a little bit of an introduction of what we do as a company. More specifically, and this is when we now get into the meat of the conversation, we'll talk about what is NinjaTrader, what are the UFOs for NinjaTrader, and why are we there, and why would you want to use Auto UFOs in your trading, etc. From there, we'll talk about how to subscribe to it, and we'll do a little bit of practice time. So beyond going over some slides, which hopefully will help with putting kind of like the framework of the information I'm going to share with you together, and it all is well understood and the presentation is well structured. Beyond that, I would certainly want to look at the real-time markets and do a little bit of practice time, because I think this is how you would get to understand better the use of the tools, the use of NinjaTrader, etc. Have a bonus for you. So that I will reveal what it is more or less in the middle of the session. I won't do it all the way at the end like many webinar presenters would do. So again, if you have to go or you need to watch this recorded, you can get your bonus a bit sooner than that. So just bear with me. And for sure, questions and answers. We can certainly reserve time at the end and go over questions and answers, and we will. But certainly, I would like to welcome you all to throw questions as we go, because if the answer is coming later, I'll be the one telling you the answer is coming later. But if it's a good time to discuss the topic that you bring in with your question, certainly I'll be happy to accommodate. And maybe when I do practice time, look for scenarios or opportunities which are in line with your questions. So we can make this session not only like, if you wish, an official presentation, but also a little bit of a coaching time, if you wish. Anyway, with all of this said, let's begin with introductions. As I said, we'll spend a little bit of time, just a little bit at the beginning. Jose Blasco is my name. I would say that some of you may know me already. I trade all assets. Every asset got pros and cons. That's how I like to define it. Options are great, but they have pros and they have cons. Equities are great, but they have pros and they have cons. Futures is great. Currencies, Forex, cryptocurrencies is great, but it has pros and cons, everything in life, right? So depending on the type of trading that you want to do, depending on the type of trading that you're planning to execute, active, less active, leverage, non-leverage, etc., long-term investing, 401k accounts, margin accounts, depending on all of that, certain assets are more adequate than others, and that's why I like to surround myself with the different choices the market has to provide to us. I'm very passionate about trading, very passionate about technology, very passionate about coaching. Recently, we published a beautiful, powerful book as well. You can see there on the left. So again, this is a little bit about myself, and I will cut it short here. When it comes to our company, you can find our company using the URL tradewithufos.com. For the ones of you new to our community, you may be wondering, what are those UFOs, right? Well, UFOs, they look like flying saucers on the chart. We'll see that in a moment. And it sounds funny, but it's pretty serious. Because those flying saucers represent on-field orders, which is the reason for the acronym UFO. And obviously, if you plot where the buy on field orders are and where the sell on field orders are, obviously to define entries and exits, to what precision to entry and exits, it's extremely powerful. And this, given the intelligence built in the technology, so this is applicable to all trading styles, long-term, short-term. It's applicable to all markets, decentralized, over-the-counter, centralized, regulated, non-regulated, leveraged, non-leveraged, you name it. So it's pretty powerful. So you will see that later. I will mention as well how to use it by itself if you are a purist, but also how to use it combined with other trading methodologies, which could enhance other methods as well. Okay, so we'll talk about all of these. And again, for the ones of you that are joining the session as we speak, just wanted to say an additional hello to everyone, and also wanted to rephrase that I would certainly welcome your questions as we go, even though we'll have time for Q&A at the end. I would really like to get those questions on the fly as we go, so I know, especially when we get into practice time, I know what I need to demonstrate to help you the most. Anyway, with all of this said, let's begin with the meat of the presentation, which we're going to start with what is NinjaTrader. And again, it's very simple in the end. I mean, you could just Google NinjaTrader or go to ninjatrader.com and immediately you will understand what it is. NinjaTrader is a platform. It's a modern, advanced piece of technology. It's a 64-bit trading platform. But one thing which is quite unique about NinjaTrader is that you could use NinjaTrader by only using the software part of it, but you could also use NinjaTrader by also using the brokerage side of it. There are certain brokers out there that in order to provide you with their trading platform, you have to open an account with them. And once you have the account with them, then you have access to their software. In the other hand, complete extreme, you have software companies that provide software, which is just software for analytics purposes that does not allow for executions, only for analytics. So here you got the two extremes, right? The brokers that gives you software to trade with, but you need an account with them to have access to the software. And then on the complete extreme, you have software companies that provide you with software, but you cannot trade with it. You can only do analysis of the markets. Well, NinjaTrader is a bit in the middle because in one hand, they are a broker and they can certainly provide you access to the software if you open an account with them, and I'm sure they will be very happy about that. But on the other hand, you can also use NinjaTrader only for analytics purposes, or, and that's why I said in the middle, or connected to other brokers other than NinjaTrader, the brokerage arm, okay? So, for example, I'll throw a couple of names. Interactive Brokers could be a broker that you could connect to NinjaTrader as a platform. TD Ameritrade, Forex.com, again, Coinbase, if you are into digital assets. So there are multiple brokers. Coinbase is more like a digital exchange, if you wish, more than a broker, but it's kind of like the same. So you could connect those either data sources or brokers to the platform, right? And then NinjaTrader becomes a piece of software which can be connected to different brokers, or you could open an account with NinjaTrader and then use the NinjaTrader platform with the NinjaTrader account. If you were to do that, then keep in mind that NinjaTrader as a broker, it's only a futures broker. So while you get access to stock data, for example, or Forex data on NinjaTrader, or even cryptocurrencies, you wouldn't be able to trade them if you open an account with NinjaTrader, because NinjaTrader only provides futures accounts. So anyway, hopefully I made it clear. This I found out of discussing this particular situation with members of our community, that most people get confused because, again, the normal thing is to get access to a software, you open an account with a broker, right? And in this case, there are more possibilities, and some are giving you more choices. Some are actually limitative, such as if you open an account with NinjaTrader, is great, but you can only trade futures, where if you want to trade stocks, which you also have market data with, then you need to connect the platform to, let's say, Interactive Brokers or TD Ameritrade. So again, pros and cons, different scenarios. Take a look at their website, contact them, and probably they will do a better job at explaining what they do than what I'm actually doing right now. But hopefully I made it clear enough for all of you to understand the nature of Ninja. Now, why are we developing auto UFOs on Ninja? Well, it's a powerful piece of platform. It's a powerful piece of software. This is a powerful platform which is professional grade, which is capable of doing things that other platforms are not capable. If I was to go to a complete extreme, there are many platforms out there that are either mobile apps, that are web-based, and certainly they are powerful, they are nice, they are easy to use, etc. But there is a moment in time where you may want to do other more advanced applications of trading, and then you just cannot. All right. So with NinjaTrader, as you will see, you are now dealing with a platform where everything is modular. You can move everything on your screen. You have a programming language. Again, you can take it really to the next level. Okay. So this is the reason why we implemented our patented technology in the NinjaTrader ecosystem. Now, what is Auto UFOs? For the ones of you out there that have never heard of it, is the first time you see those flying saucers on a chart. Well, as you can see, we have the green flying saucers, what we call the green UFOs. Those are price points on a chart. They are price ranges, price zones, however you want to call it, price levels, support or resistance areas. You could name it in different ways. In the end, we call them green UFOs, and they represent on-field orders to buy when they're green. We call them red UFOs. They represent on-field orders to sell when they are red colored. And because those price zones, because those price levels, they are loaded with those on-field orders that have not been filled yet. So then the expectation is that if price was to drop and come to the green UFO, the buy on-field orders will get filled and price will move away from that. Turning point would take place, which would be a perfect idea for an entry if that was part of your methods and your trading plan. When it gets to the red UFO, then the opposite is true. You would expect the sell on field orders to hit the market, and therefore you would expect the market to fall from there, making that red UFO either a perfect place to be set as a target if you got long here below, so you will want to take profits on the upper side, or if you were not long and you are willing to go short based on the rules of your trading plan, if your plan allows you to do that, so then that would qualify as a high quality entry point for a short opportunity right before the fall begins. And the rationale behind it is because those on-field orders are getting filled, they would generate a movement in price. Now, apart from Auto UFOs, I am also highlighting on the bottom part of the screen Auto Climate, which is a tool that is doing our market climate analysis automatically. This one, by the way, is a free tool, including in NinjaTrader is free. I'll talk more about that later on. We're going to focus on the UFOs, but we often in our community, we often combine the use of Auto UFOs with Auto Climate, because Auto Climate, it's using data, market data, to run stats and basically answer such an important question in trading, which is it time to go long? Or is it time to go short? Or maybe it's not even time to trade. I should stay away from the market and go trade something else for now, until it's time to either go long or short based on stats. This is the answer that Auto Climate is telling you, is giving you. It's telling you, is it sunny? Is it rainy? Time to go home, time to stay home, time to go out, right? So this is kind of like a very simplistic approach, a very simplistic way to think about it. Again, with a collection of stats, max distance counts, standard deviations, a sort of things that we could certainly discuss in other webinars on how to use, but certainly very powerful stuff. Going back to Auto UFOs, okay? Auto UFOs, they identify the location of on-field orders in order to define strong price points, which are ideal price points to either go long at the right price or go short at the right price, or be used as optimal target prices. So I said that before, I'm kind of repeating myself now. Why? Because I wanted to reinforce the concept of Auto Climate on the left, where I said that in our community, it's quite common to find traders like myself, where we look at the climate first, we know if it's time to go long or short or stay out. And once we know that, then we look for UFOs that are compatible with that climate. For example, if the climate is blue, it tells you it's time to go long. You look for green UFOs for entries. If the climate is red, it tells you it's time to go short based on stats. Then you look for red UFOs to enter shorts. We'll go over examples later on, but hopefully this works as an initial approach to understanding Auto UFOs. I'd love to get some feedback on the chat box if I can. I see some familiar names on the chat box, so obviously some of you know this already, but at the same time, I also see some names which are less familiar. and therefore I would love to get a bit of feedback from everyone so I know this is well understood. So now, the rationale behind Auto UFOs has a lot to do with order flow. So I would like to get a little deeper into the power of this tool, and which is derived from the power of the rationale behind the tool, which is order flow. So order flow refers to the continuous process by which buy and sell on field orders keep coming in the market. Those buy and sell on field orders are tickets, right? So as we speak, as we are hopefully enjoying this presentation, are you enjoying this presentation, my friends? So as we are having this very interesting conversation together, so there are people around the world that are clicking the sell button, there are people around the world that are clicking the buy button, and those order tickets are coming in to the markets, right? It could be an over-the-counter market, it could be a decentralized blockchain, it could be an exchange like the New York Stock Exchange or the Chicago Mercantile Exchange or the CBOE, you name it. Those order tickets come into the market, right? And what happens then? Well, depending if a valid counterparty is found, meaning if you are buying at a specific price, there was a seller willing to sell at that price too, or if you were selling at a specific price, if there was a buyer waiting to buy at that price too. So then if you find that counterparty, then the orders will be executed. The buyer finds the seller finds the buyer, they match, a trade takes place, the order is executed, and that on-field order becomes filled. If no valid counterparty is found, then those orders may be canceled after a while, and that's it. End of the story. The orders never got filled, so those orders never got an impact, okay? So in other words, the impact is when they get filled. So fully executed orders are known as field orders, we call them FOs, where are the orders that are still waiting to be either executed or canceled are known as unfilled orders. Those are the ones that have not been filled yet, meaning they have not created an impact yet. So the impact is the key, because the impact is price movement, which is how we profit as traders. So to understand a bit more this concept, we need to talk about the concept of direct versus indirect forces, right? So I guess you are guessing it. Those on-field orders are the direct force that are gonna drive price movement. When the on-field orders get filled, price moves. Depending on the quantity of buy and sell orders, price will move either up or down, and that's the direct force. But let's keep in mind a few key concepts, because often traders and investors, certainly if you turn on the TV, it's very easy to get distracted, especially if you are a newer market participant. So typically we hear things such as, the news, the economic report, the fundamentals, the technical factors. This is what creates price movement. If the unemployment number is good or bad, if the Fed raises or not, or doesn't raise the interest rates or lowers the interest rates, all of those things is what we are being told that move the market. Now, I'm not saying that's not correct. Definitely all those factors may have an impact, but think about this. Markets only move when the trading session is open, and this is because orders can only be executed during market hours. So let's say there is this very powerful market news, but the market is closed. Well, even though the news is extremely relevant, and you are guessing it, the news is, in this context, the news is an indirect force. Even though the news may be very, very relevant, nothing happens until the market opens, because while the market is closed, no orders get filled. An example that always comes to my mind is the tsunami that took place in Japan many years ago, which is a terrible news, a very big one, a real one, okay? So if I was to ask a new trader, a new market participant, if I was to ask, would the tsunami in Japan, when it happened, have the power to move the Japanese markets, the Japanese yen, and everything else? The classical answer you would get is yes, of course. But now the second part of the question would be, what if the tsunami happened over the weekend and the markets were closed? Well, while you have a real news, and it's terrible, and it's a very powerful and very, very big news, and the potential of this news to create such an impact is massive, well, because that's happening over the weekend and the markets are closed, no orders get filled, and therefore there is no price movement. Now, on Monday, for sure, when the market reopens, the market will move. But when the market opens on Monday, what happens? Many orders may have been added, many orders may have been canceled, And only the ones that change status from on field to field are the ones creating the price movement. So in other words, if you think about trading and you think about the markets from two angles, which is the direct and the indirect forces, which is the goal of auto UFOs, is to find the direct forces, right? Because obviously they are very powerful. So if you think about the markets from those two different angles, well, obviously the indirect forces are extremely relevant, but they will do nothing unless they come together with the direct forces. So the goal of traders is really to pair direct and indirect forces to add odds to your trades and do better in trading. So market moves cannot occur while the markets are closed, which is when no orders are being filled. Therefore, a sensible conclusion is that the flow of orders entering a market is the direct force responsible for the movement of price. All other reasons could be news, market reports, economic reports, technical factors of these would be indirect forces, since their potential influence is huge, but it would only translate in price movement only if and only when that great quantity of on-field orders were to change status from on-field to field. So again, with all of these concepts in mind, which is the rationale and the motivation behind building the intelligent piece of technology that we got with auto UFOs and that we further got patented and everything else. So the motivational and the rationale behind this technology was to find those direct forces. That's why we utilize auto UFOs, and it serves very powerfully to enhance trading performance. It adds more precision when planning entries and exits. It eliminates subjectivity. There are many techniques on how to define entries and exits. I'll name a couple. We could have a whole webinar to talk about that, but I'll just name a couple. For example, support and resistance lines or Fibonacci's, right? So no matter what, there is always subjectivity, right? Because two different traders that went to the same trading school, they will draw support and resistance lines in different locations. Two different Fibonacci traders would probably draw their fibs, very likely, maybe less subjective, but still there is a certain level of subjectivity on where to start the initial and the ending point for your retracement lines. So there may be variations on where the fib lines are or resistance lines are, or you name it, because most trading techniques imply subjectivity. In this case, we are eliminating the human component and therefore the subjectivity, and we just let the computer do the analysis of market data which cannot be seen by the eye, such as the eye could see open, close, high and low on every candle on the chart. This is what the eye can see, but the eye cannot see how many upticks, how many downticks, how much up volume, how much down volume you got per candle. What about during the time of the day? What about this and that? What about the ratio of uptick versus the price range? What about? So there are so many conditionants that cannot be seen by the human eye, cannot be processed fast enough for traders that are human traders, and therefore we just let computers do the job. I mean, like everything else we do in life, right? So we use a calculator, we use a GPS. It's nothing new. So by spending less time looking for trade ideas and executing them, you also enhance your trading performance, because you would argue that time is money, isn't it? Auto UFOs is traders to trade more mechanically. You got more confidence as well when using auto UFOs, because you get stats on the screen, so you know what to expect. I'll show you the stats in a moment. But let's say, for example, you are used to trade the euro, or you are used to trade the S&P future, and this is what you have traded for 2 years. And today you decided, you know what? I want to add one more market for me to trade. And I decided I want to trade crude oil futures. But you never traded crude oil futures, right? So let's say you are used to trade the S&P, and with auto UFO, let's say you have UFO performance stats of, let's say, 65%. Again, I'll show you that in a moment. So let's say you turn on auto UFOs on crude oil, and your UFO performance stats are 64%, 66%, 67%, 62%. Whatever they are, you probably feel very confident to trade, because you know that for the last 2 years you've been trading with UFOs with a performance stat of, let's say, 60 plus, and now crude oil, which is a different market you never traded before, is also giving you 60 plus on the screen. So you would know that it makes sense to trade the market. On the other hand, you may start trading, let's say, a penny stock with low institutional interest, where the majority of on-field orders get canceled. And now you look at the performance stats, and performance stats are 20%. where you're used to trade markets that give you 60+%. So you would be like, no way, I'm going to trade that market. And you would avoid trouble before even getting into trouble because, you would not trade it. So again, this objective mechanical approach to trading leads to more confidence, which has a direct impact on trading psychology, which, by the way, it's one of the key ingredients on doing well in trading and being consistent, isn't it? Auto UFO can be applied to all assets and all time frames. So it's an intelligent tool, so it adapts to the market automatically. And it could be used by itself if you're a purist. It could also be combined with other trading techniques. Could be auto climate, as I said before, but could be anything else as well. So I'll do a little bit of back and forth demonstrations to illustrate that point later on, so everybody knows how to use it. And everybody, as this presentation concludes, will know, if you're not using auto UFOs yet, if this tool is for you or not. So let's get to understand with a few more slides the mechanics and examples of trades, and then I'll move into real-time charts. I am eager, to be honest, to move away from the slides into the real platform, the real NinjaTrader. But I think that it will be a good preparation for everybody to see these few more slides I have. So here's a chart of crude oil. This is a short time frame. This is a 2-minute chart of crude oil. So again, we would apply the UFOs to low time frames, high time frames. In this case, it's a low time frame, crude oil futures. We have a green UFO, we have a red UFO. So the long UFO will be the green one, the one used for a long entry. And if you were to go long with the green UFO, then you would think of the red UFO as your target UFO. This is where you would take your profits. The long entry price would be, in this case, 78.41 or anywhere inside. Notice how those UFOs are made of two round circles. There is a circle inside the outer circle. So there is an inner circle and an outer circle. The inner circle represents where the greatest concentration of orders are. And notice that each UFO is different. Notice how the red UFO got the greatest concentration of orders, more or less in the very center area of this round circle, where the green UFO got the greatest concentration of unfilled orders a bit on the high side of the zone instead of in the middle. Okay. Also notice how the red UFO has a narrow inner circle where the green UFO below has a wider inner circle compared to the red UFO. So this, to be honest, each UFO on a chart will be different because the location where the orders are is different for each time frame, each market, each price point, each day, each minute, because unfilled orders is a dynamic thing that changes and they are in different places. So anyway, so let's say you were planning to go long. 78.41 would be your entry price if you are very generous. That would be the very top. Some traders may be less generous and they want to buy a little lower. Maybe you choose 78.30, which is somewhere in the middle of the UFO. So why not? The danger, the downside of doing this really is that price may come to the UFO. And remember, the unfilled orders kick in. The expectation is for price to go up. So if you are trying to buy that low, you may miss the trade because the turning point may happen at a higher price, may happen at 78.40. So that's why in this particular slide, we are pointing at 78.41 as the long entry price, even though depending on your trading preferences, your other trading techniques you may use, you may choose to enter somewhere in the middle of the UFOs. Maybe you enter based on the inner circle, maybe you enter deeper in the zone, etc. Okay, that's a conversation for another day, I would say, but hopefully you got my point. Now, of course, when you enter long, you need to protect your trade. So we never trade naked. I mean, every trader has a different trading plan. Definitely in our community, we never, ever, ever trade naked. We always trade with a protection. So since the ending part of the zone where the unfilled orders are is 78.21, right there. So obviously, the idea would be, a smart idea would be to have a stop right below that. Let's call it 78.20. And then the profit would be taken at 78.98, which again is the rival, what we call the rival UFO. Of course, some traders may decide, instead of taking profit at 78.98, which is right here, some traders may decide to take profits where the inner circle is. Again, the risk again is that you may miss your target. It may come in, price come to the green, bounces, goes all the way to the red, then comes a little deep and then drops from there. And if you were waiting to take profits, somewhere here at 79, let's say 05, so you may have missed the trade. Okay, you may have missed the exit in this case. Again, all of this has to do with trader preference, with trading plans and rules, which again, it's a conversation I would say for another day. But hopefully, this slide gives you clarity on the choices. So now with those choices, okay, long entry 78.41. I guess all of you would agree with me and make sense. Stop below 78.21, therefore 78.20. That would be the location for the stop, and therefore the profit target would be 78.98. If this was your trade, the trade plan would imply a risk of 21 ticks, and the reward would imply a potential for profit of 57 ticks, which if this was to be the end result of the trade, you would have made 2.7 to 1, which is whatever amount you risk, you would have made 2.7 times more. Or if you lost, because the UFOs, of course, they have a great probability in their favor, but it doesn't mean that price will always do this. Okay, price may actually stay there, whatever, and then goes in the opposite direction. So then you hit your stop, and then in this case you will lose 1. Okay, and 1 is what? 1 is whatever you decide, depending on the quantity of contracts that you buy on this trade, is futures, or the quantity of shares you buy, if it's stocks, or depending on the quantity of lots that you would buy if you were to trade spot forex, for example, right? So so let's say 1 was $100. So well, if you're right, you're gonna make 270. If you're wrong, you're gonna lose 100. Let's say 1 was $1,000. So if you're wrong, you're gonna lose 1,000. If you're right, you're gonna make 2,700. In this example, the distance between UFOs varies from market to market, and every day is different, and also depends on the time frames, right? So as a rule of thumb, the shorter the time frame, the nearer the UFOs, the longer the time frame, the further away the UFOs are. But it's not always the case, because sometimes you got markets that are in a congestion mode, and therefore the UFOs are very close to each other no matter what. So in this case, you see how price came into the UFO. Okay, price bounced. Okay, now notice how then it came back. Okay, and then bounced again. All of this has to do now with trade management. Just to share a bit more of how I trade. The moment I get a bounce, I scale out some money. So then if the market was to go down, and instead of bouncing back like it did, the market was to hit my stop, because I hit my stop and I lost some money, but also I hit my initial target and I made some money, so I end up breaking even. So I like to manage my trades in this way. Again, this is just personal preference. Everybody decides how to do it. And of course, scaling out has a disadvantage, which is you are hurting the reward to risk ratio, even though you are improving the win-loss ratio. So depending on your trading style and the time frames and the markets you trade and so on, certain choices are better than others. But again, giving you choices and sharing a little bit of my preference as well. Cool. So with all of this said, and again, I'd like to request a bit more, and thank you for your feedbacks, guys, from before as well. I'd like to request a little bit more of feedback on the chat box, if I may. How is it going so far, everyone? Please let me know. So while I'm waiting for your responses and I'm looking at the chat box as well, I will now, I'm basically ready to move into the real-time charts. Before I do that, I wanted to point at a couple more things. Number one, the UFOs inside NinjaTrader can also be seen in a table format. So you can, for example, in this case, I'm applying auto UFOs to all Dow Jones stocks. So you see which stocks are close to a UFO, which stocks are far from a UFO, which stocks are inside of a UFO. So for example, here you can see with the negative 0.33, this is how many ATRs away you are from the buy UFO. So the number being negative means that you are inside the UFO. So at the time of the screenshot, Chevron was inside of a buy UFO, and the next UFO is 3 ATRs away, which opens up the door for potential nice room for a good profit margin. So without even loading the chart, you can certainly simplify your scanning process when looking for opportunities as well, using what is known as Market Analyzer. Within NinjaTrader, you can add your UFOs there. Cool. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mario, Joanne, Yossi, David, Jeff, everybody, Anil, Benny, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone. Very nice of you guys for those feedbacks. So again, I want to show you all of these live. Okay. I said that I would explain as well how to subscribe. That's very simple. You go to our page, you click on TradeWithUFOs.com apps, and you will get to see the supported platforms. You will see that we have added NinjaTrader. Okay, you will also see that there are monthly subscriptions available, and there are also yearly subscriptions available for the same components. Notice how the yearly subscriptions, they represent around, more or less like 40+% reduced fee compared to the monthly subscription. So I would say it's quite advantageous. And also the yearly subscriptions come with free courses. In the case of the one with NinjaTrader, you get 2 courses for free that you can activate on our website. Okay, so our activations team will email you with the steps to activate the courses. Those are courses of your choice that you would choose among the courses available on our site. That's how you do it. So really, this does not deserve much more time. It's very simple. You go to tradewithufo.com/apps, you follow the steps, you pick your preference, and you're ready to go. Now, I'm going to move to the real time. I said I had a bonus for you, so here's the bonus. AutoClimate for NinjaTrader is free. You can see I'm back here to the prior slide. You can see NinjaTrader, AutoClimate, it's free. But notice that there is a one-time fee, which is the activations team, the activations fee, right? Because there is a manual activation that needs to be done, and therefore there is an initial fee. Well, guess what? You have here a coupon code. It's called CLAIM8 for climate. And when you go to tradewithufo.com/app and you add CLAIM8, so then you can get your AutoClimate for NinjaTrader for free. And that's it. So very simple. And this is I said I had a bonus for you guys, so this can help you to get started with Ninja. And also notice how the AutoClimate on Ninja, apart from the count, which is what you have available on TradingView, for example, so you also have max distance, which is the same type of analysis that we also have on our platform top. Okay, so it's a double kind of like a multi-dimensional way to think of statistics for the climate, to have a better understanding of what the climate is supposed to do. So again, very powerful tool, and you can apply it to the chart. You can apply it to the market analyzer, which is table format. You can apply it to crypto, forex, futures, stocks. You can apply it to everything else, okay? And all time frames, of course. Anyway, so this is the last slide of the presentation, which I'll come back at the very end, which is, in case you have questions for me, I'll spend a little bit of time here later on. So now it's time for me to get rid of slides and go back to Ninja. Here we go. So here is Ninja. Okay, and let's begin our understanding of the platform. I'm looking at the chat box. I don't see any questions so far. Just again, as I said before, in case you came in a bit later, feel free to type questions if you have any at any moment in time. Okay, but anyway, so this is a pretty advanced view of Ninja. In this particular view of Ninja, I am sharing with you here. This is the S&P 500. I just froze the screen, by the way, so nothing is moving at this moment in time. So we got a 15-minute time frame with AutoClimate, with a moving average, with a 15-minute time frame on the top, with UFOs. Okay, so this time frame, this 50-minute time frame for intraday trading, this is just an example. Again, everybody has a different trading plan. So for intraday traders, this time frame below is telling you, is it time to go long or short with AutoClimate, right? And then this time frame above with the UFOs, it's telling you, okay, so if I was to go long or short, where are my targets? Okay, where are my targets? Okay, for example, in 5 minutes, we have a countdown here. As you can see, I'm just going to freeze the screen one more time. 5 minutes and 1 second, we're going to have a change of a new candle. And with the little gray line here, it looks like we're going to have a change of climate from blue to red. We'll see that in 5 minutes. And if that's the case, guess what? That green UFO is telling you 3690, that's your target. Okay, so immediately, very quick, you know if it's time to go long, time to go short, and what's your target. So you know if it's worth it to trade or not. And as we are looking at this, we're also looking at the 2-minute time frame with the UFOs. So notice how there are sell-on filled orders waiting to get filled, okay? With also UFOs at 3690, by the way, which is lining up with this. So again, the intention here would be very simple. As we have confirmation of the climate change in 4 minutes, so you will want to see the S&P rally, get into this UFO, short, expecting it to drop to those green UFOs, where to take profit. And if it rallies above, that's your stop. So this is how much you're about to lose if you're wrong. This is how much you're about to make if you're right. Okay. That's the setup that we are being provided at this moment in time. There are more charts on the right, which I'm going to discuss in a moment. Okay, but this is kind of like to illustrate real time a little bit of what I shared with you on the slides earlier. What else? Well, notice that we have, remember, direct forces and indirect forces. So we have an EMA here pointing at 3707.25, which notice that the same EMA is plotted as a horizontal line on the top, 3707.25. Well, what happens with the EMS? Well, with the EMS, very, very often price comes to an EMA and bounces, comes to the EMA and bounces, goes on the other side of the EMA, comes to the EMA and bounces, comes to the EMA and bounces, comes to the EMA and bounces, comes to the EMA, didn't respect it, go through. So the expectation is that if price comes to the EMA, we expect it to bounce. Well, this is where the EMA is, indirect force, and is being enveloped by UFOs, direct force. So you have the direct force and the indirect force lining up. So certainly based on the trading techniques that I use myself, again, everybody's different and there are many ways on how to trade, but based on the trading techniques I use myself, again, that matches my trading plan when the S&P comes to those UFOs, shorting with a profit taking around 36.90. That would be the plan with a stop above in case I'm wrong. Why? Because I got the UFOs, I got the climate, and on top of that, I got an indirect force, in this case an EMA, lining up with the direct force, which is the red UFO in this particular case. Okay? So again, I cannot do any of this until 2 minutes later. Okay, why? Because I didn't have the climate change yet. So I need to wait for that. Okay, discipline is another ingredient, which that one you need to provide yourself. Okay, we provide the UFOs, but the discipline needs to come from you guys. Okay, I mean, we all know that. Now, what do we have on the right as we're waiting for 2 minutes? On the right, we got volume charts, which are based on quantity of trades. They are not quantity of contracts or shares traded, not time. Okay, on the right, on the left, we got 2 minutes. That's quantity of time. This is quantity of shares or contracts. And then on the right, we got tick charts, which is quantity of trades. Okay, so this is activity charts, how much trades, how much activity, volume charts, quantity, right? And time charts. Okay, so all of this basically it's giving us an edge. What I like the most is when the time UFOs line up with other UFOs, okay, which in this case they do, because that UFO starts at 02.5. So 02.5 is right in the middle of that UFO, isn't it? So that UFO overlaps that UFO, right? So you have volume UFOs lining up with time UFOs, lining up with activity UFOs, lining up with the EMA in the context of the climate that we are about to see confirmed in 46 seconds. Okay. So again, this is a trading setup which it's valid if your set of rules was to be the same as mine. Now, what else do we have? With a dark background, we also have volume and tick charts, but notice how those are very low numbers, 377, 610, 610. This is used for what we call reactive trading. This is for the most conservative traders, where, you know, we are expecting on fillers to get filled here. So what you would do is wait for price to come here, and the moment price comes here, you will now look here and here below to wait for UFOs to form in the price point where you expect UFOs to be. Okay, so notice we just got funny. We got a change of climate, but notice how it's a thin dot. Okay, so being thin, it's an unconfirmed climate. So we have a directional component, and I would not be surprised to see price move down. But notice how that UFO went away very quickly. So I am also not surprised that, you know, the market is not falling yet. Why? Because this is not a confirmed climate. Okay, so remember how we said, to be honest, it's not ideal for this presentation, but it's a little bit of the risk I took by looking at the live markets instead of using static slides, which hopefully you appreciate. At the same time, to be honest, I'm happy this happens because this happened because remember how we said that auto climate tells you three things, right? Is it time to go long? Is it time to go short? Or is it time to stay away, right? But in this case, statistically speaking, we don't have an edge, we don't have a statistical advantage by going short. Now, you can see how the sell-on field orders are creating a little bit of an impact. So price went into this UFO and and dropped a bit, and I would not be surprised to see it drop a bit more, but I would be surprised to see a great continuation to the downside all the way to 3690. I would not expect that to happen because the climate is not confirmed. Okay, so again, time to stay home. Is it sunny? Is it rainy? Well, it's rainy. Time to stay home. No time to trade in this particular case, even though I guess that at least the rationale of the explanation was clarifying of what we have on the screen. Okay. In any case, I also wanted to bring in a few other examples. I want to change workspace. Okay. NinjaTrader has something called workspaces. So in this particular case, I'm changing to what we call an AutoClimate workspace. So I just change to a workspace, and what we have here is I have a chart with the AutoClimate. I also have something I didn't mention earlier, which is an alert log. So as UFOs form, as climate changes, as we are approaching UFOs, we are approaching EMS, you will have visual and audible alerts. You can set up many other types of alerts with Ninja, but these are alerts that are predefined with Auto UFOs and AutoClimate in this case. And if I was to zoom in to this table format that we have here, so notice in this case, we have futures markets, we have Forex markets, we have cryptos. It could be stocks, it could be anything you add here, really. And notice that we are looking at the AutoClimate from a distance point of view. We are looking at the AutoClimate from a count point of view. And then we are looking at the AutoClimate from a spread point of view. And then we have multiple other conditions. So notice that some markets are nearing EMA, so time to trade. Notice how some markets are nearing a change of climate, so time to not to trade. Notice how some markets are near of an EMA in an early climate. So that's great, because if you're right on the climate, you're going to ride the whole wave all the way from beginning to the end. Other climates are in a sensible condition. Sensible means that it's not late, but it's not early. So it's okay to trade, definitely okay to trade, but it's not the very, very beginning. Other climates are in a hopeful stage. Hopeful meaning that it's not sensible to trade. It's not early and it's not sensible. It's now hopeful. That climate has been developing for a while, and while it's not a crazy thing to enter, because there is a directional component in that climate, in this case is that down directional component, you can see the down arrow. Well, it's not sensible and it's not early, it's hopeful. It's been running for too long, right? And definitely if you use the status late, that means that not only it's been running for too long, it's been running for way too long, statistically speaking. Notice that this climate should last 4 candles, statistically speaking. This climate has been running for 12 candles in a row in that direction. So it's statistically unsustainable, and that's why you are late to the party. Okay. Again, could it last more? Yes, of course. Statistics are there to guide us, to give us a reference. Statistics are never there to be a guarantee, but certainly when something is late or hopeful, it means a lot when it comes to avoiding getting in trouble. Okay, and this is basically what we are trying to do here. The other workspace I wanted to share with you. Okay, and again, I accept questions anytime. Okay, as I said. So here we got another view. Okay, which is Auto UFO view. Same type of setup with a chart on the right with UFOs instead of climate, a table with UFOs instead of climate, and the alert log, which now is also alerting when UFOs form, which ones they are, which time frame. Are you approaching the UFO, which is red? Are you approaching the UFO, which is green? Which market? Is it the euro? Is it the S&P futures? So all of this is devoted to save you time, and have you be more efficient in your trading and save you time. Again, this is now applied to multiple markets. Okay, but you could apply it to many other markets as well. Okay, so if I go back to let me do this here. See, if I open a new market analyzer, you can even set your templates. Okay. So if I load a template, for example, let's say you are looking at the 60-minute time frame of all the ETFs that represent the S&P 500 index, all the SPDR ETFs. So next thing you know, here are my all my XLE, XLU, XLK. They are all here. Market data is loading, so that's why it's going to take just a little bit of a moment of time for this to load. And next thing you know, you're going to have all your UFOs to show up here. And also, very importantly, the stats, which, by the way, I didn't mention, almost forgot. So if you get into the chart and you enable your settings for the indicators, notice how there is a tick here, which is show UFO stats. Okay, apart from the calibration. Okay, I personally love to use the golden ratio 0.618. Again, we'll send you a user guide, and we have videos on our YouTube channel that explain the calibration process, so I will not do that today. But when you click OK, so basically now you got a measurement. Okay, so each market and each time frame will have a different measurement. In this case, 52.46. So what if I look at the 5-minute time frame? So 59%. Again, each market is different. Okay, and this is, by the way, very useful. So let's say, for example, you are looking at stocks. Okay, stocks normally provide the worst measurements. Why? Because the stock market only trades 6.5 hours a day, and when the market closes, many of the on-field orders get canceled. So something which is very powerful is to look at the statistics of the UFOs for many of those markets, because it basically tells you which markets have the greatest institutional interest. Okay, so this is loading, and it will show in just a moment. And once all these market data loads, a collection of data needs to be loaded for this to be processed, here we go. So notice how now you can sort this, and notice how certain stocks like Coca-Cola, IBM is giving you very, very, very nice UFO stats, which means lots of institutional interest, many on-field orders that are not canceled and that gets filled, producing an impact, versus, for example, Disney or Home Depot, which at this moment in time were terrible institutional interest. Okay, so again, and this is the real institutional interest, not what you find in certain websites. So again, pretty cool to save time when you're looking for opportunities. Pretty cool to understand the markets that you trade, to look at UFO stats. Could be on the screen, could be on the table format. Good stuff. Of course, if you get deeper and deeper into certain time frames, like for example, if I look at 1,000 volume chart, for example, right? So 65% probability right here. So again, depending on the time frames that you use, if you use volume charts, tick charts, you will be able to enhance this, putting on the side that there is a calibration method as well that would make your trades to be even more efficient. Okay, but also let me change market here, and before we conclude the session, I believe we have 5 minutes left. So before we conclude the session, let's change topic, like crude oil, for example, and let's look at a 2-minute time frame of crude oil, for example. I'm just randomly picking this. So as crude oil in a 2-minute time frame is loading and the UFOs just showed up on the screen. So let's say you are facing this situation. Okay, let's say you are a Fibonacci trader and you are looking at plotting your fibs. Okay, plotting your fibs. So Fibonacci retracements from here to here. Okay, again, there are many ways on how to draw fibs. So for example, if that was the case, would it be wise to trade the 61%, the 50%? Would it be wise? Well, probably not, because there is no UFO lining up with any of those values. Okay, there is no UFO lining up with any of those values. What if you were to draw it from top to bottom, right? And again, there are many ways on how to draw retracements. I'm just gonna go very basic from here to here. Well, notice how the 50% retracement is lining up very well with the UFO. So if you were to be a fib trader, and assuming this is how you draw the fibs, so you would avoid trading the 38, you would avoid trading the 23%, the 61%, the 76%. You would focus on the 50% because you have an indirect force fib lining up with a direct force UFO. And the two together would add odds in your favor. Okay. Now, what else can you do? And this is some of the features I'm going to show you now. I love about Ninja. Other platforms could certainly perform the same too, but not all platforms. So for example, let's say I'm going to add more data series. And so I'm going to add to the same chart, I'm going to add another crude oil, and another crude oil, 3 more crude oils. Now, I am charting the 2-minute time frame, but I want to add 2 15-minute time frames, and I want to add a 60-minute time frame too. And you will see why. So I just added I have total of 4 data series on the chart: 2, 15, 15, 60. Now, the 15, 15, 60, I don't even want to see it, okay? I don't even want to see it. So I want to make that chart type to be line on close, and I'm going to make it transparent, so I don't see it, okay? The next one, line on close and transparent, so I'm not going to see it on the chart, even though behind the scenes, the data feed is there. Actually, that was silly of me. I don't need 215. I'm not sure what I was thinking there. So 60, I'm going to make it line on close and transparent, okay? And when I click OK, okay, well, wait a moment, because they are in different places. So you can see, by the way, that while I have added 2 data feeds that are transparent, so they don't show, but I want them to show on the same panel, okay? So I want them all to be on panel 1. Panel 1. Okay, so that way, now if I click OK, I got the same chart I got before, but now we know, only us know, that behind the scenes, I got 3 data feeds running: the 2 minute, the 15 minute, and the 60 minutes. And by the way, they also show here on top 2, 15, and 60. Okay, so what can I do now? So talking about direct and indirect forces and the fibs. So I can add, for example, another indicator, and we talked about EMS. So let's talk about EMS, or maybe you are using SMS. Okay, so let's go for SMS. I'm going to add 3 SMS, 3 SMSs. The first SMS, I want it to be 20, which is a classical SMA, and I want to base it on the 15-minute time frame. The second SMA, I also want it to be 20, but I want it to be based on the 60-minute time frame. And the third SMA, I want it to be 22. Sorry, I want it to be 50, and I want it to be based on the 15-minute time frame. And I want all of this to be calculated on price change, on price change, and on price change. So in other words, let me explain. I am calculating 3 moving averages, the 20 and the 50 from the 15-minute time frame. Okay, 15-minute time frame, 15-minute time frame, and the 20 from the 60-minute time frame too. Okay, so if I click OK, I end up with this. Okay, I end up with those 3 lines: 1, 2, and 3. Okay, now those are moving averages from a higher time frame, from a larger time frame, and you can see how price came here and reacted to the moving averages. I mean, we talked about this earlier, right? Now, the intention, and in this case, this is indeed not a good example, because I was trying to find fibs that are lining up with EMS. I got that, but I got no UFO here, right? So again, maybe we need to change market to see if we can find it. Maybe gold would be a market that gives us that opportunity. Okay. Oh, okay. So take a look. So with gold, so what do we have? So we have a whole move here. And maybe to make this a bit more visual, I should make those lines to be a bit thicker. Please allow me a moment to do it. I prefer to do this manually. I could have had this prepared already, but that way you see how I build it. So it will make more sense. Plots, SMA. Okay, let's do 3. 3. 3. So I'm changing the width. So if I click OK, so those lines are thicker now, so I guess it's easier to see. And now, again, let's play with the fibs again, right? So again, talking about indirect forces, direct forces, that concept, right? So you can click down here, you can go all the way up here, and then maybe you go from here. Okay, another set of retracements from this other pivot point all the way to this one on the top. Okay, and then you do another one. Okay, maybe you are a fib trader looking for nested fibs. Okay, and improvising this because it's real-time markets, right? So what do we have? Well, we have one red UFO lining up with two EMS and the other UFO lining up with one EMA. But what else? That UFO is also lining up with a fib. The UFO below is lining up with two more fibs and 3 and 4. So notice how many on-field, I was going to say on-field orders, which we have. Let me start with indirect forces. Notice how many indirect forces we have in this particular price point, lining up, most importantly, lining up with the red UFOs. So if price come back to this price point, we have a fair opportunity for price to move down to this green UFO. Direct forces are likely going to add more on-field orders to a price point where we already have on-field orders lining up, right? So powerful stuff. Just opening your eyes, because at the beginning of the presentation, if you recall, I said that auto UFOs could be used by themselves if you're a purist, and certainly it's powerful to use it like that, but UFO can also be used combined with other trading methods, and that's why I'm adding fibs, moving averages from a different time frame, just to give you a little bit of diversity on different possibilities on how to use the technology, just in case it was not well understood based on what I said on the slides. Anyway, we just hit basically the official ending time of this webinar. It's certainly been my pleasure to introduce you to all of this. But before we conclude, certainly I would like to give you one more opportunity to ask questions if you have any. Out of curiosity, let's take a look at what happened to the S&P trade. Here we go. It did move from the UFO to the target, and in the end, we did have that climate move from unconfirmed to then confirmed. Thank you very much, Mr. S&P. And certainly new opportunities were created afterwards, as new UFOs are formed, lining up with the EMA one more time. So again, 3700.58, okay? Anyway, questions or comments? And if all is clear, then great. We'll just say bye, but just know I'm happy to extend a little longer. If you guys have questions, happy to clarify anything that comes to your mind. And maybe your question is very elaborated and we can handle it in our live sessions, and maybe we do that. But certainly if you want to phrase your question now, happy to take it and we can talk about it either now or another time. So I'll just wait here for a couple of minutes. I'll take a sip of water, and that way I'll be sure before we conclude the session that all was good. Thank you very much, Mario. Thank you very much, David. And this is very kind of you guys. Okay, so it seems that I guess that all is well understood. I guess all is well understood. Wonderful, everybody. Well, again, my pleasure. Just know that myself, my team, we're all here to help you guys. So anything you'd like help with, just contact us. We have a questions page on our website. You can send an email to our support team, support@tradictive.com. You can email me directly. Remember, I shared my email earlier, didn't it? You can also contact us via our social media pages, which you can see on the screen. We can get your free auto climate for NinjaTrader using the coupon code CLAIM8. And again, happy to have a conversation with you guys, no matter what is it that you have concerns about or needs related to any specific market, any specific asset class, you name it. So take care, everyone. This session is indeed recorded. This session will also be posted on social media places such as YouTube. So yes, indeed. And for the ones of you who attended live and therefore you received an email invitation, you will also receive an automatic email with the recording as well that you can see at your own pace. Everyone, take care. Thank you for joining me, guys. Exciting day for us launching Auto UFOs for NinjaTrader. Very exciting to be part of the NinjaTrader community. Certainly a great place where to be. Certainly great platform, great broker. And yep, See you around. You guys take care. Bye bye, everyone.